This is a sample audio-video presentation chapter from the book, Melodies, Movies and Memories, written by Late Shri Nalin Shah. The book is published by Saarthak Prakashan, Ahmedabad. Price ₹300 inclusive of postage. Copies of the book can be ordered from Kartik Shah, mobile number 9825290796 or purchase from their website www.saarthakprakashan.com.
The Alam era Revisted. This past decade has witnessed a veritable deluge of books based on Hindi cinema and the music that holds these movies together. Most of these books are run-of-the-mill, packed with second, third or even zillionth hand information for the simple reason that anything and everything related to Bollywood sells, and because there is a palpable fascination for old Hindi movies to this day. The late 20th century was a very different time though. While movie mags were a dime a dozen, there weren't many takers. For writers who dabbled in Hindi cinema, fewer still were interested in the compositions created in a bygone era. At the time, even those who chose to write on the subject rarely ever ventured beyond the 1950s. The earliest epoch constituting the first 2 decades of film music suffers massively from this mist of neglect and an acute lack of documentation. And therein lies the problem. The act of writing on vintage Hindi music is akin to documenting the Ganga without having any idea about its Gangotri.
There have been a few honorable exceptions though. Harmandir Singh Hamras, for one. In an exceptional triumph of diligence and resolve, he took on and completed the Herculean feat of compiling 5 volumes of the Hindi film Geet Kosh, 1931 to 1980, thanks to the cooperation he received from a host of fellow music lovers. Harish Raghuvanshi followed in his footsteps and compiled Mukesh Geet Kosh, a first-of-its-kind documentation on a single artist. Gujarati film Geet Kosh came out soon after, also by Mr. Raghuvanshi. The other worthies to make up this short and honorable list would be Firoz Rangunwala, B.D. Garga and Veerchand Dharmase, who were all acknowledged for their rigor and their exactitude. Rajnikumar Pandya, Gujarati, and Isat Mujawar, Marathi, who also wrote lucidly on any subject involving music, and artists from old Hindi cinema were 2 other noteworthy exceptions. Amongst this elite peer group, the eminently readable Nalin Shah, with his research-based and analytical approach, has occupied an almost unique position.
Shah's series on the forgotten music maestros of the 40s, as well as his pieces touching various aspects of film music from the 30s to the 50s in Filmfare and varied English-Hindi publications of yore, is a seminal contribution to this body of work. His fortnightly column in the popular Mumbai tabloid Midday was a keenly awaited affair, admired by film lovers as well as people from the industry. Penned occasionally under the pseudonym Shah Alam, his articles were a perfect blend of historical trivia, first-hand stories and dollops of nostalgia. Nalinbhai, as we refer to him fondly, was an enviable storehouse of 78 RPM records, and yet, that obviously wasn't his only identity. He had cultivated his relationship with artists with an admirable sense of passion and purpose. Gifted with a keen sense of history and an analytical mind, Nalinbhai painstakingly went about the task of gathering tidbits of information that stood him in good stead later on. Composers Anil Biswas and Naushad, with whom he had a close relationship, and composer S.N. Tripathi, singer Rajkumari and lyricist Kamar Jalalabadi, who were friends, dropped in at his Santa Cruz, West, apartment from time to time.
This wonderful raconteur of a man was an inevitable member of any assemblage that boasted vintage veterans such as Kavi Pradeep, Indivar, Anil Biswas, and Meena Kapoor, and yet his value lay in the fact that he was never overawed by the larger-than-life persona of these artists. No story was ever taken at face value or found worthy unless it was corroborated and cross-checked. For Nalinbhai, the standing of the artist had little to do with the story's credibility. His style of fact-checking combined the timeless arts of gentle probing, counter-questions seeking details to fill up the gaps, and periodic reconfirmation of these anecdotes from multiple personalities to string together an authentic historical narrative. Having watched him in action as a young music enthusiast, I was witness to his style on more than one occasion when I tagged along with him to meet icons such as Naushad, Pradeep, Sarangi maestro Pandit Ramnarayan, Pune-based singer Jyotsna Bhole, and composer Ram Kadam in the early 90s.
My close association with him lasted for around 15 months during my Mumbai stay from 1993 to 1996, after which he became our much valued and long-standing family friend, not to mention a guru of sorts when the subject was old Hindi film music. It was he who led me by the hand and encouraged me to discover the treasure that is Hindi film music from the 30s and the 40s. In an age before mobiles or the ubiquitous internet, the only way Biren, my elder brother, and I kept up our association with Nalinbhai was through what is now referred to as snail mail, and that too had a flavor all of its own. As a matter of fact, he had once sent us a photocopy of Hai Raja's musical score. There is an interesting anecdote linked with Raja when Nalinbhai visited Chennai, erstwhile Madras. A short meeting fixed for him at Raja's studio had the latter so enraptured through his insights into the history of Hindi film music that the meeting stretched on for hours and had to be wrapped up reluctantly because Nalinbhai had to keep one more appointment in the evening with the then rising star of the music world, A.R. Rahman.
There are many fascinating anecdotes related to Nalinbhai that one can never forget even with the passing of years. I once inquired at one of the usual lengthy chat sessions at his place if the music directors Shaukat Dehlvi Nashad and Shaukat Haidari were one and the same person. He was not sure either. And as was customary with him, instead of bluffing his way through or narrating a half-truth, he immediately made a call to Mubarak Begum as she had sung for both these names. Begum confirmed that both of these were names of the same composer. In a similar vein, he once called up the legendary Manna De to inquire about Hari Prasanna Das. Nalinbhai ventured into the audiovisual era media during the golden years of Doordarshan, the nation's only TV channel at that time. Gata Jai Banjara, an unforgettable series made by Siddharth Kak, had him in the key roles of researcher and scriptwriter. He was also a central player in the enlightening half-hour programs made for Vivid Bharati that showcased the lives of vintage music directors and singers. Subsequently, he also anchored an audiovisual show in an innovative format, which narrated the history of film music through the years.
The Gramophone Club of Ahmedabad deserves special mention for the manner in which they allowed full rein to his creative expression and gave him absolute liberty to make these shows as interesting as possible. These shows were then replicated elsewhere with thumping success. Nalinbhai's riveting oratory and a firm command over his subject still continues to hold his audiences in thrall. Especially the research and presentation he makes on K.L. Sahgal, which is nothing short of epic. Hand on heart, it would not be out of place to suggest that this wonderful man's enterprise has been profoundly instrumental in helping the new generation reconnect not just with the roots of classic Hindi film music but also in keeping them absorbed with the sonorous gems of a gentler era.
Who would have known a quarter century ago that I would become a journalist, writer and ultimately a publisher, with my writer friends Deepak Solia, Dhaivat Trivedi and Kartik Shah? For Biren and me, this has been the fulfillment of a dream we saw together many moons ago. All of us at Saarthak Prakashan feel utterly privileged to bring out Nalin Shah's first book and hope that this is just a precursor to many more. for the treasure that he commands in the form of rare documents, photographs, and most importantly a memory that is a fount of insightful anecdotes, needs to acquire a much longer shelf life, at least as long as vintage Hindi film music, the subject closest to his heart. By Urvish Kothari. Translated by Vistas Khodiwala.
This is a sample audio-video presentation chapter from the book Melodies, Movies and Memories, written by Late Shri Nalin Shah. The book is published by Saarthak Prakashan, Ahmedabad. Price Rs 300, inclusive of postage. Copies of the book can be ordered from Kartik Shah. Mobile number 9825290796. Or purchase from their website www.saarthakaprakashan.com. This audio-video presentation is prepared by me for the sole purpose of promotion of the book by Shri Nalin Shah. All contents, images, photographs, layout of the book etc. are used for this purpose only. Copyrights for all the materials used remain with the respective owners. Vinay Shah.